Oh, I didn't do this. Sorry. Doomsday 3.
We're in Doomsday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of the nation. All his friends.
You got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just got to say, former Dallas Cowboys play well.
It's different. I had to
For sure, they would have thrown it off because
and then I go to bed every night like, hey, man, I promise you that. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. Finally, we got Jimmy Dee in the house. You know, handling some personal things, but it's always good to get you back in and hopefully hanging with us a little bit. Or, you know, get you feeling good, get you feeling hype, even though it's the off season. So
yeah, I know it's a little slow with the off season, but you know what? We always have fun. And you know, first off, how was your weekend? Oh, you know what? We'll get to your weekend in a few minutes.
Into it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it, but yeah, go ahead. Now I got a PSA, and then we're gonna get right into it. But go ahead. What do you got?
No. So first of all, we talk about cuts every week. I got this. I ordered from Cuts, like a family Polaroid, if you will, that he cut. My wife for her birthday loved it. It was a home run. And I thought about it. I would have sent Tag the picture of it earlier to show everybody. But again, phenomenal work that Cuts does, and the wife was really happy, and it was a great birthday prize for her.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yes.
He did a great one for the family. And I know Cuts he's into house. So of course we got to show him some love, and Jeff, and appreciate everyone hopping in. So listen, it's the off season. It's not as busy. So, you know, you're always trying to find things to do, but you know, when you're hanging in the cave and you got your boy, he's working for you. Like I said, we can't get champions. You know, the Falcons hadn't won a Super Bowl. We hadn't won a Super Bowl in 29 years now. So I'm bringing the champions into the house. So we have got Kevin Gogan, 2-time Super Bowl champion of the Cowboys, part of the Great Wall. He already sent me the message. He warned me. He said, hey, Mike Tag, I'm just letting you know. Ain't going to be no filter. You've been warned. He said, you ask the questions, I'm going to answer it. And you may not like the answer, but I'm going to tell you the way it is. So I'm excited to get Kevin Gogan in. And then next week, we got Coach Campo coming back in the house. You guys got to remember, Mike Zimmer coached under him in the mid-90s, the Super Bowl team. Coach Campo was a defensive coordinator. And then when Campo was a coach and a Parcells, you know, Zimmer was his defensive coordinator. Then obviously with Parcells, he stayed on. So we have got some great shows. That is 5 rings right there. And that doesn't even count, you know, Coach Campo's championship with the U. You got to give him that. So that's 6 rings we got coming in the next 2 weeks. We had Tony Hill in. We had James Washington. I mean, we're bringing in Super Bowl champions. We're going to change the mentality. You understand what I'm saying? The mentality of this Cowboys team. We're going to make them believers, and we're going to change that culture one guest at a time. We're going to, hopefully these guys are listening and they get some there. We're imparting wisdom, as Michael Irvin liked to say, impart wisdom on these guys to hopefully get this thing rolling. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
The interviews have been great. And you know what? Kogan, especially, I was watching that on YouTube when he got booted from the Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah. He got booted from the Pro Bowl. The other funny thing you'd want to watch with Kevin Gogan, we'll get into it, is he got in a fight. The Eagles were giving us a pretty good beating. Yeah. And they did a cheap shot on Troy Aikman. It was offside. They ran in, they hit him. And funny thing is they didn't even call a roughing the passer. It was kind of the only thing he got called for was offsides. And so they started fighting, and Kevin Gogan, he's in the middle of the pile. That he gets up, and him and Jerome Brown and Kevin Gogan's doing a little juke, and he's getting everything ready, throwing up the Dukes, and then Reggie White was in there. It was funny. So we're gonna have to get the story behind that, but it was it's a lot of fun. So we're gonna have some great guests in the cave. And like I said, it's the off season, so it's a little bit quieter. We'll get into the free agency. We'll get into, you know, all that other stuff. But more importantly, got to talk about the weekend. weekend, right?
Because you're probably a little more exciting what you had going on. But I had a lot of fun. But Ultra, you get the Knicks and Rangers. You know what, bro? First of all, the Rangers are in first place in our division, so I don't want to hear it. The Knicks are kicking ass despite all the injuries. This past weekend, I was at MetLife Stadium because they had the NHL outdoor game this weekend.
Yeah.
So Saturday night was Philadelphia, that dump scumbag against the Devils, another dump down in Newark. But yesterday, Rangers, Islanders, great game. Went with Camel Piper. It was cold. It was kind of fun because those Islander fans, the Islanders suck. They're the minor league in New York. Everybody knows that. They're like, the redheaded stepchildren of New York. So, they were up 4-1 like that. And they're carrying on, laying into us, this and that. We chipped away. Like you said, culture, champions come back. And it's 4-2. Then it's 4-3, pull the goalie. We tie it with 50 seconds left. And then we break their hearts in overtime. So we were hazing them the whole way out. What a great game. What a great time.
No, that's awesome. Speaking of Camo, I was how is he feeling? How's he feeling with the Super Bowl loss? The 49ers are they're like becoming the Buffalo Bills. They're 0-3 in their last appearances. I don't know what's going on. Is he okay?
Yeah. So it was him and Moose, his brother, who's a Giants fan. And a couple of us went down yesterday, and you know what? He was still a little reserved and a little pissy about last Sunday, but he said after yesterday's game and we won in overtime and beat the Islanders and shut their mouths, he felt a little better.
A little bit better.
Yes, some therapy yesterday, so that was good. So, But you know me, I wanted the Niners to win.
Yeah,
right? I was pissed too.
Yeah, I didn't want the Niners. I didn't want the Niners to win.
I know.
I don't want to hear it from their shitty fans. They're mean. They attack me personally. You understand what I'm saying? Personally,
they try to hurt you with their words.
So, but hey, man, I got to say, had a nice weekend, anniversary. My wife and I celebrated 21 years, the Zeke's number, prime time, 21 years. I can't believe time goes by so fast. Only thing I got to think about is they ain't won a Super Bowl. Cowboys ain't won a Super Bowl since I've known her. So I don't know if this is going to be working out. We got her and I going to have to long talk about this, but hopefully Cowboys can win that Super Bowl and get things going. But we went down. I told you. One of the whales at the Hard Rock, he called me up and said, Mike Tag, he goes, I love your work. I want you to come down to the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, and you are going to be my guest. You got a room that's comped. We're talking about the Guitar. Anyone look that up? The Guitar Hotel, pool view. I posted the picture. I mean, treated like a king. I went. Did some gambling. He's an icon. He's above the legend. He's like, black card, this and that. He goes, hey, I'll take you down to the casinos. We walk in the casino. It's like the parting of the Red Sea, what I'm telling you. It was just, everyone just kind of oohing and ahhing, looking at him. My wife and I are walking behind, just following the path. And next thing you know, he kind of gives a little look, and the people part at the roulette table. The man sits down, and everyone just gathered around. They just wanted to watch him work. So the man went to work. I took some notes, got a couple tips. I ended up laying down 400. When all said and done, I came home with 1,800. So I was in the positive, 1,400. So it was a great time gambling, and then we got into some other stuff too. But that was it. That was being treated like a king with the icon of the Hard Rock.
So you mean it was kind of like Nick Papa Giorgio? Is that the way it was? The game was old sweet up top.
Absolutely.
and you know what? If he was a big shot, I'm sure he took a cab there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he gets to parking. I'm parking up in the 5th level. This guy's out there. He rolls the car up. People are running down there. He's got a little sticker in his window. They're parking the car. I'm carrying the luggage and this and that. So it was it was nice. It was nice. Yeah. I didn't hit as big as Dez. The only problem is, here's the deal. I did some sports betting. You're there. The sports betting legal in Florida now, so did that. I had a couple games, college basketball. I'm not real, aficionado on basketball, but then I won 2 of the games. So I said, text my son. I said, hey, what do you think of Auburn, Kentucky? I said, I'm thinking Kentucky's getting 5.5. That might be good. And he goes, no, Dad, Auburn never loses at home. You take Auburn, you give the points. Look at what they did to the last ranked team they played. They beat them by 40. I listened to my son. Now I'm out. I lost. Auburn lose. And then he goes, hey, Pops, I got one better for you. I'll make it up to you. The UFC to fight tonight. You take the champ. He's going to give him a beating. Next thing you know, the challenger knocked him out in the second round. I lost again, so I should have just kept with myself. But he apologized. He said I should have did my homework a little bit better. So it was a good time. But I'll tell you what, people watching at a casino in the Hard Rock is like nothing you'd ever see. There was every walk of life. You had the high rollers, the ones that are throwing $2,000 on a table and losing, and you had the ones that probably should be calling 1-800-GAMBLER. I was thinking Uncle Cheech. I saw Uncle Cheech. We had the brunch, but I'll get into. Uncle Cheech stopped by for that. And then the women, some of them dress, some of them, I'm with my wife. I'm trying to be a gentleman, but one woman's walking, young lady was walking, and the slit in her dress kind of either, I don't know if it was meant to be that way or it got moved that way, but it ended up being the front. She was giving everybody a show every time she'd take a stride. So my wife had to give me the elbow and say, "Hey, keep your eyes up." So
That's right.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a knockers bouncing all over the joint. Her ass was wiggling too.
Oh, no, but it was good. It was good. Then we, Counts Logue, you had the finest steaks. I mean, I got, the Big Lou, it was rolling out the red carpet. Then Uncle Cheech meets us Sunday. He says, "Hey, guys, if you're going to be there, I'm going to be there. Let's go get some brunch." Next thing you go to brunch, you got king crab, you got stone crab, you got oysters, you got all this stuff. And it was just an absolutely wonderful weekend. And I highly recommend anyone who's hadn't been down there, man, just go down to the Hard Rock, man. It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Now, when you say there's legalized gambling, is it like a traditional, like if you go to Vegas, a sports book like that,
yeah,
where there's free drinks if you're betting horses and stuff?
No free drinks. No free drinks.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. They got that's why I had to win that. I had to come home with that extra $1,400 to pay the bar tab and pay the dinner tab. No free drinks. They got no competition. It's all the Seminole, right? Vegas has competition with the hotels, so they give that free drink to get you in there to stay in there and gamble. You could tell them, "Hey, I don't want to pay no free drinks." They said, "Fine, go down to Coconut Creek, go to the Seminole thing there. We own that too. They're going to charge you for drinks, so you figure out where you want to go." So,
well, you know what though? It's because you're getting back to college basketball again. I know nothing about college sports, but Mikey, he's pretty well versed with college sports, especially college basketball. So
very well versed. Very disappointed in him costing me money. I don't like the that scuttle. I want to hold on to it, but I ended up winning, so that was the most important thing. Plus, my wife had a great time. We hang with the high roller. I mean, saw Uncle Cheech. I mean, everything good. You couldn't ask for a better weekend. It rained the whole day Sunday, so we had to drive home in the rain. But other than that, it was good. And with the NFL offseason, you got the offseason going on, and there's not a whole lot going on. It's like, what do you do? This is kind of like that weird time in sports. So you got to find, other things to pique your interest. So it was, college basketball and March Madness will be coming up, and baseball is, I live in Florida. So the Grapefruit League is getting started. So you've seen a lot of stuff with the Yankees and the Phillies and all those teams around here that are getting ready to report.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm seeing you. I wish you were like, more into, I know you're not really, but into hockey and basketball and baseball. Yeah. But you know what? It is tough, even right now, because spring training hasn't started yet, right? NHL and NBA are still, the All-Star game just happened. So there's plenty of season left with both of those leagues. So right now it's either regular season, no NFL, and baseball hasn't started yet. So it is kind of like that in between situation right now. But, speaking of, NFL offseason, what is it? The tag franchises start tomorrow. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. I think on Tuesday, and it really, you're looking at the franchise tag. I mean, there's really not a lot of guys. You can't see Barkley. They're not going to tag him. Josh Jacobs isn't going to get tagged. You got to think the defensive guy from the Jaguars, there's a lot of talk that he'll end up getting tagged. So you'll probably get some big defensive guys maybe getting tagged. Michael Pittman, a receiver, I can't see him getting tagged. Yeah. Snead's a good cornerback, but I don't know if Kansas City's got the money to do it. So I don't know if he's going to get tagged. And a lot of Cowboys got no one to tag. Eagles got no one to tag. Commanders got no one to tag. So it's probably that's going to be kind of quiet, I think, until really free agency gets going.
And that's a month away. And you know what? That begs the question, because as a Falcons fan, I'm saying, okay, who's going to be our quarterback? Like I said, I've jockeyed for trading 8 to Dallas getting Dak. I'd go with that all day long. But beyond that, I'm trying to figure out Mayfield. I think he's a free agent this offseason. I would take Baker Mayfield in a heartbeat. There's talk about Kirk Cousins, again, a little bit older, injury prone, but you never know. There's Justin Fields trade brought up in there, and Ultra was talking about JJ McCarthy.
He's got to be on. He's got to be drinking the rum. There's no way in hell he's. I don't know how he's an NFL prospect. Did anyone watch him play? Did anyone watch? I mean, he throw like 50 yards in a game, 80 yards. I mean, he stinks.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better than our quarterbacks last season.
I mean, I'm not taking it, but they did. Your GM came out, said quarterback is a priority, whether it be draft or whether it be free agency, whatever it's going to be. Addressing the quarterback position is going to be a priority. And you can get a Baker Mayfield. I mean, call him what he wants, but he had a good year, very good year in Tampa. I think Tampa's going to try and keep him, but I don't know what kind of money he's going to demand. But there's going to be those guys out there that if the Falcons really want to get into the mix, is do it. Or I mean, they can draft. There's going to be, you're looking at the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is going to be gone. Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, and then they have JJ McCarthy ranked 5, so that it drops off heavy after 3. Because I don't even know if I'd put Penix in an NFL caliber type quarterback, ranking. But
and you see, that's why I'm here, because I know nothing about college football. So you guys have to educate me on who's available, right? I mean, Fontenot, we draft great, right? But we've had no quarterback since Matty Ice, was gone.
Yeah. And hey, Ultra, I don't take anything you say. I mean, you told me the Niners were going to win the Super Bowl. You said this was going to happen. You said that's going to everything. You're like, what's the guy? You're like Mush. Is it everything he says?
Eddie Mush
happens, whatever. I mean, I don't listen to a word he says when it comes to that stuff. You might, I give Ultra credit. He knows some players and he knows this and that, but his predictions are terrible. I'll never take him to Vegas. That's why I promise you that.
Okay, but I'll say one thing about Ultra made a comment earlier about Aaron Boone being a problem for the. I'll agree with him on that. We will agree on that all day long. Yeah, there it is. Yankees have a Boone problem. I'm not getting to the Dak part of it, but we have an Aaron Boone problem and a Hal Steinbrenner problem. So Ultra's right about that.
Yeah, and who said Dak was elite? I mean, did someone on the show? Did I miss it? Did I miss someone say Dak was elite? Did I have a guest on here that said Dak was elite? Am I missing something?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. But again, if
you're going to tell the truth, then speak the facts. I told you facts. You said 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. You understand what I just said? That didn't happen. You said all these other predictions were going to happen. None of it happens. I told you. Don't go to Vegas with you. I said what I feel.
Hey, put him in the bathroom. But it's crazy to we're having fun. Everybody knows that. So but yeah, that's the thing, and that's all the speculation. This is the fun part of it, all the speculation and
absolutely. You're gonna go through so many scenarios. So you look at the draft. I mean, you look at the draft boards and the predictions, and I mean, it just goes over and over. It's just, I would never want to be a scout. I would never want to be one of these draft gurus. I mean, it's got to be a real big pain in the what. So it's So, but we have fun with it. I mean, the draft is going to change. Like they had Bijan Robinson going to Dallas at 22 or whatever it was last year. I mean, so I don't take any of the draft stuff. And what happens is these guys, the problem with the draft, Jimmy, is they overanalyze all the players, right? Yeah, this guy, that guy. And they start finding ways to find faults with them or whatever. I just say, hey, man, just look at the tape, look at the games. I know college is a little different because the level of competition changes so much. So you got to look at some of the measurables. I get all that. But when it comes to some of these positions, either he's a player or he's not. I mean, either he's bringing or he's not,
But the question is, when it comes to the draft, do you take the best available player at that point or the best player to fit your needs? And there's always that.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think in the chat, but I mean, it's really dependent on where your team is at. I would love to be in the position where you say, hey, you take the best to play available guy. If it's a quarterback, take the quarterback. If it's a wide receiver, take the wide receiver. Whatever it is, you can never have enough talent, especially with the first pick. I think when you get into the, the middle rounds. I mean, we got to get our linebacker situation. Maybe you're going to draft a linebacker a little bit higher than you would draft a guy. You know what I mean? Maybe there was someone else rated higher. So, but I really think it's dependent on where your team is. If you're a bottom feeder right now, you're probably trying to get anything you can get, but you're going to take a high priority in quarterback, and that's why you see these quarterbacks. And you got the what's up, Ace? You got she said that someone was being mean to her one time, and then I want to make sure it wasn't me. So she said never. She's awesome. She's awesome. But so it just really depends on on what your needs are. But a quarterback, that's why you see like these quarterbacks. That's what I was getting at. Some of them are reaches, but these teams are so desperate for a quarterback that we just got to get one in the first round. We may not be there in the second round, so we just got to get them. We just got to get them.
But then you look at like CJ Stroud. How often is that going to happen, right? So if I'm me being a Falcons fan looking for a quarterback, I'm looking at what's available out there at the pro level, because we have nobody to tutor a quarterback, right? We don't have anybody, to be a protege, if you will, right? So if it's me as a Falcons fan, if we can get a quarterback in the draft, take it. But I think we need a veteran presence there now, somebody who's proven, right? And it ain't Haneke and it ain't Ritter, no matter what they were talking on Twitter last week, the Falcons, because we're not looking internally at quarterback.
No, they got it. You guys got to find it. And it led to an interesting, I read something and I thought it was pretty interesting. It was on the teams with the biggest Super Bowl window. So, you look at the teams where they're at now, right? So where they're at today, with all the variables and everything in there, who's got the best window right now. So I don't think you saw this, Jimmy. This is
No.
this is for you. So we'll run through it, and then you guys in the chat, give your opinion. They ranked the top 8. So we start at 8, and we'll work our way up to 1. And these are the teams that, with talent, cap, whatever you want to put in there, these are the ones that have the best window. And I don't even know if I believe in windows anymore, the way free agency and stuff is, but we'll play along. So New York Jets with the 8th, ranked 8th is the best quarterback window, or best window for a Super Bowl. Now everything hinges on Aaron Rodgers, but they got some young talent, right? Quinn Williams, I got Sauce, I got Garrett, young Breece Hall and running back. So I mean, when you see that, what do you think in the chat, and what do you think, Jimmy?
No, again, Aaron Rodgers is a wild card. I mean, first of all, he's older anyway, right? It was 3 snaps in and he was done last season. That to me is a long shot. And who are they going to get? Again, who's available quarterback? We talked about it already, who we're looking for in Atlanta. Who are they picking up if things don't go right for him? So I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with it?
With the Jets, no, because if things don't work out with Aaron Rodgers, they have nothing.
Okay.
Zach Wilson's doing nothing.
Well, they say everything's hinged on him. So there you got a 40-plus-year-old quarterback that you're hinged on. Number 7, Green Bay Packers. They got a young quarterback. Obviously, they beat the brakes off Dallas. They got a young, group of receivers that were not really, highly touted, but hey, they did well. Matt LaFleur has done a pretty damn good job, and you lose Aaron Rodgers, you think it's going to be this whole big they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. They get hot, so they're number 7. What do you think about that? One of the youngest teams, if not youngest.
Agree 100%. Jordan Love proved himself. They were 4 minutes from going to the NFC Championship game, and if they make it, they beat Detroit. They would have been in the Super Bowl. So I agree with that. That's a solid young team.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So then we get, this one's interesting, Cleveland Browns. So they got Deshaun Watson at quarterback that they're tied to. I mean, they still got Coop, right? They got Coop and Njoku. Chubbs is there. So, I mean, they've got some weapons. Their defense was ranked, obviously very high with Garrett, and you got Denzel Ward and all those guys. So the quarterback is the one that I don't know if I could put them 6. I mean, what do you think about that?
No, that's the whole point, the quarterback situation. And Edgar, the Browns are cursed. I really do believe that. And I just don't believe, again, the Jets have a proven quarterback. Cleveland does not. And again, with the quarterback situation, I don't buy that.
No.
And again, it hinges on quarterback, right?
All right. Well, here's one. Number 5. Francisco 49ers just was in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
They got, obviously that was a crushing loss. They got key pieces that they got in place with McCaffrey, Samuel, Kittle, Ayuk, Trent Williams, and obviously Purdy. Going to be interesting to see how they work, with the salary cap, and eventually Purdy's going to have to get paid, and they got free agents on the horizon and this and that. So they've got them ranked number 5. So do you think that is kind of where they need to be? Is that too high, too low? What do you think?
No, I think they're top 4. I think that, I'm a shill for Brock Purdy. You guys all know that. I've been saying that for 2 seasons. I wish he was in Atlanta. Obviously he's got a lot of weapons, and man, they were this close, right? And everybody said, oh, and it is contingent on Purdy because they have nothing else, right? So you take him. Oh, he's a game manager. No, man, he proved he can come back from being down fourth quarter deficits, and so I think that that's either 4 or 3, the 49ers.
Okay,
right? But it's contingent on keeping those weapons.
List. Don't go yelling at me. I didn't make this list. Number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. Now I didn't write this either. So you tell my man Ultra, don't go yelling at me. The Cowboys have a premier quarterback thrown to an elite pass catcher, CeeDee Lamb. They got a solid front. The team must make tough choices in the O-line, right, with free agency and everything. Mike Zimmer was brought on board to toughen up the defense that underachieved in the postseason. So that's something that they look as a positive. They're looking at a cultural shift, should benefit the team. And needs to play more force in win or go home games. So they've got them with everything, the talent, the youth, and everything. They've got them number 4. I was surprised that they were ahead of the 49ers, but I think when you look at free agency and maybe look at some of the decisions that they're going to have to make, maybe the Cowboys are right where they need to be. Do you think they should be higher or lower? What's your thoughts?
No, I think them and the 49ers are interchangeable at 4 and 3. Based on what I'm looking at now, what you're showing me, right? We haven't even gotten to 3, and I'm saying 4 and 3. I mean, look, like you said, the offensive line. As a matter of fact, I don't know if so. Parsons was saying, "Hey, if we had some more grit on the offensive line, then it would be a big help for running back.
Pollard, you're talking
Pollard. I'm sorry, Tony Pollard. Yeah.
Pollard.
Well, Parsons was all over that this past weekend. I read that he was talking about that. But anyway, I mean, look, Dak Prescott, he had phenomenal numbers last year, right? It was that playoff curse with him. That's all it was.
Oh, and right? defense got a 40 burger dropped on him too. I mean,
okay, but still, when you have when there's no ball possession and the other team has it's a lopsided time of possession, that's going to happen, right? But I wanted, what I want to get to your defensive coordinator situation after.
We will.
We
definitely will get into that. So number 3. So that leaves 3, and you got to kind of be thinking, all right, who's a 3? To me, they're the 3 the 3 names that you see out there. So I mean, maybe not a surprise. This one maybe surprised me a little bit. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. So you got obviously another disappointing playoff loss. Lamar Jackson doesn't get the criticism of the playoff disappointment like Dak does, but another disappointing playoff loss. They got free agents pending. Well, obviously Beckham did nothing, Aguilar did nothing, but they got young Zay Flowers. They definitely have some things that they've got to pick up, but their defense always solid in Baltimore. They lost their McDonald and a lot of assistants on the defense. So I think they've got some things that obviously you're going to work through. But what do you think about to me, that one's a little higher than I thought as far as window, but are they a win? Maybe, I guess they're a win now team. They got the best window to win now. They rank them as number 3.
Yeah, but again, it gets to, every year they just can't get it done in the playoffs. And I think they should be more like up in that 6 or 7 spot. Yeah. 49ers and Cowboys should be ahead of them.
Yeah.
Right? I think.
Yeah.
I still think they got
I would have the Niners. I would have the Niners probably higher than Dallas, higher than Baltimore. I might even have them. I don't know if I'd have them higher than the next team, but I might have them on the other, but I get it. So number 2, Detroit Lions. And I think that's a pretty good spot for them. Yeah. Obviously they had a big meltdown in the championship game, but they've got young talent. They've got a lot of young talent. Obviously Jared Goff at quarterback, steady guy. But I mean, you got Laporta tight end, you got Gibbs the running back, obviously St. Brown, and I mean the offensive line is really good. The defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn's done a really good job with them. So I mean, how you feeling? I mean, Lions seem to be the sexy team going into next year for the NFC. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, they are. I mean, think about it. They finished the prior season like winning 6 out of 7 games. They were lights out this season. And again, if if their coach doesn't again, they were ballsy throughout the season and they got where they were playing ballsy. But when you're up that high, when you're out scoring the 49ers by that much in the second half, you can't be making stupid decisions. You take the points. They would have done that. They would have been in the Super Bowl. So I agree with that one. That's number 2. Yes, I agree.
So number 1, no surprise, Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, number 1 in the biggest Super Bowl window. I mean, to me, I hate to say it, but I got to respect it, is as long as I got Patrick Mahomes, I think their window is wide open. I mean, he's proven that. He's lost players, and he's been able to overcome that. And I just, as long as he's behind center, they got as good opportunity as anyone in the NFL, if not better.
No, I agree with you. I mean, not only is he talented, but he makes smart decisions, right? And at the end of the day, you look at that team. He's like a Tom Brady type, right? I mean, you have him there, and I can't stand Tom Brady. You got to give him respect, though. You have Mahomes, you're winning. I don't care who's in and out, right? They lost Tyreek Hill, and look what they still did what they had to do, right? That's your current dynasty. And, Uncle Cheech was right when I said the 49ers would win. He said it comes down to the quarterback, and it did. And he's right. And I agree with that one.
Yeah. And thankfully I listened to Uncle Cheech. I won money off that. I took Kansas City. It was when I bet it was 1.5. I think it went up to like 2 points or something like that. But it was a great Super Bowl. Both teams, played well. I think, San Francisco, the thing I'll say is Shanahan, he's made some blunders in some big games. I mean, you could argue, did he know the overtime rules? Obviously if you get the ball last, no matter what, I mean, why wouldn't you want it last to know if you need a touchdown or a field goal or whatever the scenario is? He decided, now maybe it was his defense was tired. He just, whatever the reason, is, but I don't know. I think I'd want the ball last in every opportunity that I get the ball, knowing what the outcome would be. I'd rather have the ball in my hand.
Well, think about it. The ref said, we are starting a new game. He made it very clear what the rules are, right? And that was that came from the Bills game, right? That they started.
Well, it came with they said that Josh Allen never got a chance to touch the ball because in the regular season, if you score a touchdown, game over.
Right. In
the playoffs, you score a touchdown, the other team still has an opportunity to get the ball no matter what, unless it was a defensive touchdown. Right.
And look, I can tell you from experience, Kyle Shanahan does make blunders of play calling.
Yeah.
I'm still not over that. I still tell Campbell Piper all the time that Shanahan pissed me off, cost us our Lombardi trophy.
But yeah, so those are interesting, those are interesting, things. Yeah, you take it with a grain of salt. I mean, everyone has a list and you put these things together. I mean, there's some teams on there that, maybe shouldn't be on there. There's probably a few that you could add. But I think for the most part, like Cleveland was the one that surprised me the most, unless, just because I'm Deshaun Watson hasn't done nothing. And I don't
he's done nothing but get handies. That's all he's done, right? He loves massage parlors. That's what we know he's good at, right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you, because I said I wanted to touch base on the Cowboys. You talk about Zimmer. Now, do you look the Niners canned Steve Wilks, their defensive coordinator, just a few days ago. Do you say, damn, I wish he would have been available when we were hiring as a Cowboys fan?
I don't know. I don't know. I think what this team needs, and I could be wrong, but I think what this team needs is a kick in the ass. They need someone that is a disciplinarian, that'll get in your face, that'll call you out, that'll do all these things in a teaching way, not to be a jerk like some people say he acts like a jerk. But if you listen to his former, players he's coached. They've all come out from the Vikings, from the Cowboys. I mean, from back in the 90s till as recently as, a couple years ago when he was the head coach of the Vikings. The guys, Pac-Man Jones from Cincinnati, credited him a lot. So I think that's what the team needs. Now, with Wilks, I mean, what I would say is if I'm the Cowboys, I'm calling them. The 49ers did him dirty. I mean, he really has nowhere to go, right? All the positions were filled. Then they said, we're going to change it and make him a scapegoat. The defense wasn't the reason why they lost. I promise you that. They held Mahomes in check. Yes. I mean, they had 3 points, and the Niners offense did nothing to capitalize it. Make it a 2%, make it a 3%, jump on. They did nothing for that. So that is not on the defensive coordinator. That defense played phenomenal, I think, in the game. So if I was Dallas, I would try and bring him in as assistant head coach, the coordinator, any kind of position that's a high level position that he would work with Zimmer. If they mesh, I don't know these guys. I don't know if their philosophies are the same and this and all that, but I think it would be nice because I think he has an axe to grind, right? I mean, that would be something that would kind of get me to get back at him. So I would like to see that. But I think for the Cowboys, the question was, would I rather have him over Zimmer? I just think for me, Zimmer is going to bring something this team needs. Now, is he going to get it all out of him? I don't know. I mean, Dallas is a mecca, and you've seen it, and I've seen plenty of players, and that's why we got all these former guys coming on, because we're going to figure this thing out with this culture and with all this stuff that goes with it. But I've always been a fan of Mike Zimmer ever since he was with the Cowboys, when he left the Cowboys and followed him in with Cincinnati and obviously with the Vikings. So I'm happy to see him back, and we'll see what happens. I think it was time for Quinn to go, not to bash him, not to do any of that, but he's a player's guy, right? He's a buddy. Yeah. And I don't think in Dallas you need buddies. I don't think it works. I think there's too much distraction.
No, yeah, you know what? It's funny. I would have taken, because Raheem Morris got hired.
Oh, I would have
went out and hired, a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator from the Rams. So we got Jimmy Lake. I said, damn, I wish Wilks was available. We already hired Lake a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I wish Wilks was available. I'd love to have him, as our defensive coordinator. Right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that Raheem Morris got the head coaching job.
You're you know what? Me too. It was,
and you're
surprising.
Saying you need a quarterback, right?
And we need a quarterback. Yeah, we need a quarterback. But the thing is, he's there. So like we always say, no matter who the personnel, the coach, we're going to root for him. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a stupid hire, and I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully, 8-9 months from now, I'm eating my words.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, I hope so. I mean, we'll be in Atlanta. We play you guys.
Yes.
So we'll make the trip to Atlanta. We'll have a good time.
Yes, it will be a good victory.
You don't really think you're going to whoop us now, do you?
Well, I'm not going down there to watch them lose.
Well, lose royalty, you will.
Royally. Yes, it's okay.
I was thinking I had something else on my mind. Lose royally, you will.
Royalty. That's who you're hanging out with. At Hard Rock, you were hanging out with royalty.
I know. I'm thinking about loyalty rewards and all this and that. But no, I tell you, I watched the Sly documentary on Netflix. Put me to sleep. I thought, honestly, it was about his life, everything that went up, but it was really about Rocky and how not Rocky, but how he started doing screenwriting and wrote the story and this and that. So it probably was interesting, but after a 5-hour drive back home, flipping that on wasn't really fast paced and entertaining, but I do like Sylvester Stallone. I just think a lot of what he says, and I don't know where he gets some of his sayings. I don't know if it's written or if it's really his thoughts, but he's got a lot of good, clever quotes and things to say about life.
You know what he does? And then for me, when you listen to him, it sounds like it's coming from the heart, right?
Yes.
Obviously, the guy's an actor and he can play it off, but it sounds legitimately like it's coming from the heart. He's, very, very, what's it, believable, very passionate. That's the best term, right? So, yeah. I mean, that thing he put out when Carl Weathers passed away, that was heartfelt, man.
It was. Right? Yeah. Still upset about that one. It just makes you. Someone said, I don't know someone made fun of me. Someone made a comment on
No.
one of my Facebook or something. No, I did something on there. It said something about if you're talking about the people you grew up with your childhood or something like that, you're a loser or something. I said, I don't know. Am I a loser? I don't know. Because I'm reminiscent about my youth and I'm happy. I mean, I went to that Hard Rock and I'm looking at this, looking what's walking around, and I'm happy I grew up in the era that I did. I mean, it's just I love the times that we grew up in, and hopefully
somebody like that probably has no life. Right?
No
he
life.
sits around. He's probably watching Cowboys game 24 hours a day. Jealous of Mike Tag. Wish he's in your shoes. But I mean, think about it. Who's going to sit there and rip on you for that? Right?
I mean, people. I had someone comment. They like bashed the Cowboys on a video that really had. What was it? It was Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith, and then the guy just went down. The curtains were open when the girl was walking. The guy like bashed the cow, and I'm thinking to myself, so why? I don't know. I never understand people like, why would you stop what you're doing in your day to watch the reel? Which I do thank you for watching it. Believe me, I appreciate all the support. But then you watch it, and then you not only watch it, you comment and write a paragraph about it and about the Cowboys. And to me, I would just be like, you know what? I saw something on the Eagles. I just flip through it and go on in there. I see something on why I just flip through it. I see something I don't like. I mean, I just don't understand. But the Cowboys bring that out of people, and I think it's a great thing because it's good for business. It's like I was talking to a friend of mine. Her son does YouTube, and she said that he's a big college football fan, big Bama fan, and boy, Nick Saban leaving. I mean, he didn't like it, but man, it was sure good for business. And it seems like the Cowboys are just that way too. If they lose, it just becomes business booms, which I don't want. I want them to win, but it's just crazy the reaction. Certain teams, the Yankees. I mean, you deal with it. With the Yankees.
Absolutely.
We get teams that just drive a response. I've never but I'm not a fan of the Yankees. I'm not a fan of the Lakers. I'm not. I've never gone out of my way to like, man, I'm going to watch this thing and I'm going to comment on it. I'm going to hate it. I'm not a Yankee fan, but I tell you what, if you haven't watched it, one of the best documentaries I saw, Yogi Berra. They had it on Netflix.
Oh, Yogi, really?
It was absolutely. I mean, I love watching old stuff and the history of sports. And I'm not a Yankee fan, but that thing was awesome.
That's old school, man. Well, first of all, getting back to the guy who was commenting, you know what happened. He watched the reel, right? And then he got done. And then the next thing he pulled up was probably some surly website on his phone. And that's what he was doing when he was done. Actually, he's probably doing that while he was watching you.
I hope not. Not.
Hey, you got to feel flattered. But no, I'm telling you, man, people have no life, and that's the problem, right? But that comes with the territory, like you said. A Yankees fan, they're ripping on us, right? We buy rights. There's no reason we shouldn't have had a World. I mean, 2009, right?
Yeah.
And part of it gets back to what Ultra said. It's our leadership. But anyway,
I was trying to get us close up. I was trying to camera.
Trying to get my nose hairs.
I added like 15 pounds. I'm trying to lose weight. It looked like I had about 15 pounds. I need to keep my distance. I look a little thinner.
But yeah, man. So I got to check that out. Whitey. You said it was a Yogi Berra?
Yogi. It's his daughter or granddaughter, and they talk about Yogi. Why isn't he mentioned with the greats, the Yankee greats? Yes. And really the greats of all time, championships, MVPs, all-stars. He was the catcher. Everything that you look at his career, everyone almost what she was saying is people made him like a caricature.
That's exactly what it is.
The funny look and and the stature and everything went. And the other thing, which you probably know, and maybe if you do, I'd love your opinion on it. He was the manager of the Yankees. And George Steinbrenner said he's manager for the year. And then like really quick into the season, he fired him.
Yes.
Yogi Berra was so upset and hurt by it and the way that George Steinbrenner treated him. He said he never stepped foot in Yankee Stadium again. He didn't. This was I get chills thinking about this. Yeah. He didn't for the longest time. And then I guess George Steinbrenner finally apologized. That's all he wanted to apologize. He apologized. They had Yogi Berra Day. And they had Yogi Berra. They had the picture
Whitey
threw
Ford.
the perfect game. No,
Whitey
he threw
Ford.
the perfect game. Perfect game in the World Series or whatever. Who's your pitcher? He threw the perfect game.
Whitey Ford.
No, it wasn't Whitey Ford. In the playoffs, he threw a perfect game.
1950. Yeah. Shit.
I can't
Give me
remember.
a minute. I can't believe. Somebody help me. I can't
Tell me
believe.
out if you guys know it. But he threw the first pitch to Yogi Berra on Yogi Berra Day. David Cone pitches, throws a perfect game that day. I mean, just and Girardi was the catcher. So I mean, they talk. It was just a real. I mean, that's crazy. Sports is just. It's amazing how things happen in sports. You know, you
Don
think
Larson.
about
Don Larson.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's all right. You think about like Brett Favre when he lost his father and he played that Monday night and just had this unbelievable game. Or you think about some of the games that Jordan had under certain situations. Or you think of just things that happen in sports. It's just amazing. The time. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And it was cool seeing, because I saw Yogi Berra at Old Timers Day, right? I wasn't there for Yogi Berra Day, but then he came to some of the Old Timers days after that when he felt welcome back. And Steinbrenner doesn't apologize to many people, right? So, but it was the right thing to do. I don't know if you ever see, there was back, it was about 15 years ago, ESPN had this, it was called The Bronx is Burning. It was about the 77 Yankees. It was a 7-part miniseries. It was great. And just how chaotic that the front office was, the locker room, Billy Martin and Steinbrenner going at it all the time. Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin butting heads. It's a 7-part miniseries. You can find it on YouTube for nothing now.
I have to look it up. Yeah.
It's really, really good. And there was one point where Billy Martin had it out with Steinbrenner in the locker room with the in front of the players, and Steinbrenner, actually, Yogi was an assistant, and he canned Billy Martin and said, "Yogi, you're hired." Right on the spot. Now it lasted a half an hour, they made amends a half hour later, but the whole point was you look on Yogi's face. Like you said, he was always the caricature. He said the funny things. He kind of had that look about him, but man, him and Bill Dickey, they were no joke as catchers. And look how many rings he took home, how much hardware he took home.
Yeah, Derek Jeter was on there, and he said Derek Jeter. He said he'd say something to Yogi. You always remind him how many rings he had compared to Jeter. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
it was good. It was a good, definitely good story to check out. I mean, I love those any sports documentaries. Or I watched one on it wasn't, who was the other? God, Willie Mays. Wasn't Jackie Robinson? Willie Mays. Great. It was. I watched it on a plane. Great story there. The stuff that he, everything that he did and got through and did all the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, just good stories, man. Good stories. So anyway, what else is going on in the world of Jimmy D? Anything in sports? Anything fun with the kids or anything like that?
Like I said yesterday, that stadium series was a lot of fun yesterday. And again, even if you're not a hockey fan, if they only have a couple of them a year, go, because it's like going to a football game, but it's hockey. You're at a stadium, you tailgating for a few hours, having a good time. So that was a lot of fun. But no, man, same old stuff. I don't know. That's what I want to mention to you. Remember our friend Steve Mongo McMichael, who's not only a great football player, but a great professional wrestler. He finally got into the Hall of Fame, or they elected him into the Hall of Fame, and he's had ALS, so he's been in rough shape for a while. The poor guy gets nominated or elected to the Hall of Fame, and a few days later ends up in the hospital where it's not looking good. So it's like, I really hope he makes it to that induction.
Well, I mean, and where I was talking about it, and it's kind of tough because it's a sensitive thing. I mean, do you think of him as a Hall of Famer? I mean, did he have, I don't know.
But then again, how many times can I sit there and talk about an offensive lineman? Right? That unless it's one of your own players.
Defensive line?
I thought defensive line.
Yeah, he was on the 85 Bears, which helps him, right? 85 Bears.
Right. Hey, Cuts watched the game yesterday, so yeah,
he knows what's up.
Great comeback. Sent them Islanders homes crying out of MetLife.
I'm trying to look up.
But Mongo, look up his stats but that's the thing.
He's a two-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, obviously. His sacks, they started keeping sacks about when he started. So 95 sacks in his career. His best sack number was 11.5, but he was an interior. I think he was a defensive. Yeah, he was defensive tackle. So sacks weren't as big there, but he was an All-Pro Well, he made the All-Pro first team 2 times, All-Pro second team 2 times, 2-time Pro Bowler. The craziest thing, in '85, he was voted to the All-Pro first team and didn't even make the Pro Bowl. How the hell does that happen?
Yeah, I know that's crazy, right?
It
Especially they
don't make
didn't
no
have
sense.
what's that? I don't think they had fan voting back then either.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so I was happy to see that, but you feel badly whether he deserves to get in or not.
No,
The poor guy,
looking
right?
at his numbers, I would say he would be one of those fringe guys that you can make an argument for. I look at a lot of those veterans. We had Tony Hill on, and I think about him, or really Ed Too Tall Jones. Ed Too Tall Jones is the one to come to mind because I'm thinking to myself, Ed Too Tall Jones, Steve McMichael. On the field, they played similar positions. I'm taking Ed Too Tall Jones. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm biased. But I get the Steve McMichael. There's just so many guys in the NFL that it's hard to I guess to get them all in. But
yeah, I mean, and then that begs the question. Whenever you talk about Halls of Fame, you talk about Pete Rose, and why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? But we can go on and on with that.
That's criminal.
Travesty.
That's criminal. Yeah, it is.
Travesty of justice.
No, it is.
Especially when you see.
Right.
Well, it's not right, especially when you see what some of these other guys in Cooperstown, what they've done, things in what they've had in their background. It ain't like he gambled against his own team, right? He wasn't shaving point. He was betting on baseball. I know because of 1919 and the White Sox and all that. I know that baseball has an issue with that, but that was Bart Giamatti. That's what that was, and nobody wants to overrule that.
No, absolutely. So. All right, man. We're hitting an hour, man. Anything else? Anything else we're missing, Jimmy? What do we got?
No, man. I think I'm glad you put that up, everybody, because I think we didn't do it at the top. Subscribe,
I'm bad at that, but if you're watching, hit that subscribe, like, and share for God's sakes.
Wait, Parsons did have another big thing this weekend. He was the Celebrity NBA All-Star MVP.
MVP, right? What did he drop? 37 or something like that?
Yeah, he had a pretty good ball game.
Yeah, I need that in the postseason. Need to get that in the postseason from these guys. But the thing is with Parsons, look, man, he's our best player. I mean, and he gets criticized, and I get it, but I mean, let's not be foolish and thinking he's not the best player on our team. The thing you'd love to see is you'd love to see him be more vocal. You'd love to see him be that kind of leader, but I don't know if he's that way. I mean, that is not something that you just are born with. I mean, there's a lot of leaders that aren't necessarily your best players, but they command and they get respect and they do all of that. So that's where, he gets a lot of heat. Now I get, the podcast and all that kind of stuff that he does. And you wish that didn't happen, during the season. And he had said that, hey, he's going to talk to the guys and needs 22 weeks and everyone's got to be all in and focused and this and that. And I mean, actions speak louder than words. So we're going to see what he does. And maybe he starts to take that leadership role. I would love nothing more to see some of these guys. I mean, just, hold each other accountable. Accountability is really the name of the game that's missing with this Cowboys team. It's all in between the ears. We've had guys on. I mean, the guys from the 90s, and we'll have Campo and we'll have Gogan on, we'll get their opinion of it. But James Washington said, hey, this Cowboys team is the most talented team in the history of, the franchise. And that's saying a lot, and they ain't won nothing. So it makes, I always argue, well, I can't be. I mean, the 90s teams were the most talented, or the 70s. So it says a lot that it's all in between the ears for these guys. It's the culture in Dallas is like no other. The only comparison I could probably make is the Yankees, maybe the Lakers. I don't even know how basketball of Lakers still have that kind of prestige that the Cowboys and the Yankees still have, but it's a lot to overcome. You got a lot of media hype, and you get, ESPN and all these guys. I mean, the Yankees will be on, baseball season, right? They're going to talk about them every day. You're going to see them up on the screens. And that's something that mentally they got to overcome, and they got to stay focused, and they got to, the task at hand.
Well, and the thing is, you talk about leaders and even we were talking before about defensive coordinators, coaches. You kind of live in a culture nowadays. Some of these younger guys aren't used to getting screamed at. They're used to getting coddled. Remember, we were younger. I remember when I was playing football, I was playing down in Lakes, right? Rec football. And I remember the best line ever, because I was, built a little differently at that point. So I was center, right off center. So the coach comes up and, hey, you got to go up and get intimate with his nuts, right? And so I remember that like it was yesterday. Or I remember another coach was pissed off at a kid on another team. He took a piece of pizza, hot pizza, smashed in his face, right? I swear to God, one of our good friends who lives out in Texas now was there for that one, right? But, I'm telling you. So you can't get away with that stuff nowadays, right? Because people's feelings get hurt too easily, right? Meanwhile, this guy's got to get intimate with my nuts, right? So we don't bobble the snacks.
What the hell? Can we run the shotgun? Do we have to get that intimate? What the hell are they? What the hell's going on around here?
Right. Oh God. But that, that's
I mean, that is the coaching. I was talking to, I don't forget who I was talking to. I still think the great ones want to be coached. The great ones want to be pushed. The great ones want to be challenged, right? I don't think they want to be coddled. I don't think the great ones want to be, because that's what makes them so great.
You look at Michael Jordan, who as a fan, again, my opinion, greatest basketball player ever. But as a Knicks fan, I couldn't stand him because he always breaking my heart, right? When you and I are both in sales, there was this sales thing I had about 10 years ago, and they had Coach K in talking to us, right? Coach Chevsky. And he said when he was coaching the NBA or the Olympics team, it was the first version of it. And he said, practice is over. And he says, Jordan comes back out after practice. Everybody's off. And he goes up to Coach K and says, hey, I need to work on my free throws, right? The greatest player in the history of the game is staying extra, asking Coach K to help him with free throws, right? You don't find that much anymore, right? Like the great ones, you will find it.
Yeah, the great ones you do. There's no doubt about it. I don't think that changes. And I think Parsons is a great one. And it's up to him
to
elevate the other ones, right? It's accountability. It's like what I hate repeating old shows, but it just sticks to my head is James Washington said, we were more worried about what our teammates were going to say on the plane ride home or as we got off the field if I missed a tackle, if I didn't make a play, I dropped a ball, whatever it was. There was more concern with the teammates than the coaches. And that's when you got accountability. That's when you're pushing each other to be the best. You don't want to let each other down. You don't want to disappoint. That's what's missing to me. Again, I'm an outsider. I'm not in the locker room. So, a player could say, hey, this dude on this podcast, he's full of shit. But I'm just telling you what I see. I can only say what I see. I see it with others. You see it with Kansas City. I saw it with San Francisco. You see it. I don't see that level with the Cowboys right now. And I think that's the missing piece.
Yeah, but you don't see that.
Maybe Zimmer can get it out of the defense. McCarthy, McCarthy's the same kind of coach in a different way, but I mean, he makes tough decisions. I mean, he's made tough decisions on players and things like that. So, maybe them together can get this out of this team because, if not, it's, blow it up and start all over. And here we go again. I mean, you can't continue doing the same thing.
No.
It's just, you're never going to win.
Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? Yeah. I mean, and look at Atlanta, right? And I love my team, but let's be honest. We have, our culture's all over the place, right? I mean, we've never been a dynasty. The way things are right now, we don't have a quarterback, so I don't know what the hell is going to happen this upcoming season. I hope for the best, but it's changing a culture and a mindset. And I don't know, maybe Morris comes in and does that for us. I really don't know. I mean, maybe he's coming back to the organization.
Maybe the second round, they learned a little bit. And the second time, you've seen these coaches that have done it. So I wish him the best. He's a good dude. He was down in Tampa a lot, he's coaching and stuff. And you want nothing for the best for them. Of course, for you, I'd love to see the Falcons. I want to make sure it's competitive when we beat you guys up. I don't want to slap you around.
You want an excuse, That's going to be a fun time. I can't wait till the
case.
schedule comes out. I can't wait till the schedule comes out, man. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
So we can figure out.
No, I'm hoping it's not on some stupid day. Hopefully they keep, consistent so they don't screw it up and put us on some like weird game on a weird day that messes everything up. So
Exactly. But
all right. Well, cool, great. Man. Well, I don't know, man. I'm still recovering, so probably, I still got. I've been hanging out I was gonna say I've never been out late, like after 1 o'clock in the morning. Up 1 o'clock back-to-back nights. It's tough. Getting old. Can't do it.
Can't change.
Like regular the best people. Is we're leaving. I'll tell you this last story. Then we're leaving.
Okay.
I must have been tired because I'm sitting there walking, my head's down. My wife looks and goes, "Look at that." And I look over, I look in front of me, and this girl is walking with a see-through mesh dress. Doesn't look like she's wearing any underwear. If she is, it's a G-string or a G-string. And she's just walking like it's no big deal. And I'm thinking to myself, what the I mean, I don't know. My wife.
What the hell is the world coming to?
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy. If I was a kid growing up today, I'd never get married.
You took the words out of my mouth. Where was that when we were younger? Where was that when we went out for nights on the town?
I know. Probably a good thing it wasn't. Probably a good thing.
75-cent cocktails down at Trios.
Yeah.
Nothing but the best.
Nothing but
you woke up with a pounded headache the next day.
The best again, you get pulled over by the cops. Hey, have you been drinking anything tonight?
Oh, couple beers and a suicide.
Suicide. It's like what the
yeah. So anyway, okay. So we'll tell the story. So we were out at this place down in Lauderdale, and it was our friend in Texas that we talked about earlier, and I think it might have been the Big Shot down at the Hard Rock in that night. I think, but I might be wrong. Anyway, we're driving. I'm not driving. I can assure you of that. I'm in the back seat, and I see the red and blue lights come on, and I'm like, oh geez. So cop comes up and looks at my buddy and. Would you have? Did you have anything to drink tonight? Any alcoholic beverages? And he looks at him with a straight face. Oh, I had a couple beers and a suicide. Can you please step out of the car? He's doing this. He's doing it. He passed.
He passed it.
He passed it. Thank God they didn't breathalyze him, but he passed it. And it was just like, I sobered up real fast at that point.
Oh yeah, no, that'll do it. I mean, that'll. I mean, and again, do not advocate any of that. I mean, we didn't have Ubers, but we got to be smarter. And I think that's probably the better thing is maybe there's some smarter people in this generation when it comes to that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people that Uber and do all that kind of stuff. So hopefully there is.
Do the responsible.
Yeah. Not very. Thankfully, there was no cameras and no phones and none of that stuff when we grew up. We always say because it'd be tough.
It might have been some problems with employment.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So anyway, hey guys, man, we had a great time on a Monday after a good weekend. I understand. Hey, it's it's the off season. It's kind of this month is kind of a slow month, but we're going to get some stuff going. But like I said, more importantly, we've got a lot of things coming soon. So keep an eye out. We've got Kevin Gogan, we got Dave Campo, and I might have a surprise for Jimmy. I'm going to be seeing someone next month at an event, and the only thing I'll say it'll have NWO implications, and it's not one of the wrestlers, but it has implications. Okay. So
really, you got me all excited.
I'm gonna try and work it out, and then if it works out good, I'm gonna have him come on again during a college football game. So that might be another clue for you, Jimmy. During a college football game, I'm gonna have him come on. So anyway, until then, guys, I gotta update our video, Jimmy. I see we're doing all this stuff, and I don't have an outro, so we're gonna have to use the old outro with K9. But this is Jimmy D and Mike Tag. So hopefully we'll see you. And again, got some great guests coming up. So just continue to hit that subscribe, like, share, spread the word. And we'll see you soon. Appreciate it.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.